It's a pleasure to be here. Welcome, FEBRABAN TECH 2024. And I'd like to talk about the panel, Redefine and Corporate Customer. Maybe it's one of the deepest revolution we've seen in the banking industry at the moment, because you have to cross, and I've learned that not long ago talking to our panelists. It requires crossing what we know, which is the customization of the customer, the technology that has revolutionized the world of banking, a new way to interact with those customers. That's the subject of our panel. How is it that the banks go to the corporate world, keeping the hyper-personalization, the capacity to deliver differentiated service, but how do you advance in that? And I've learned with our panelists that the banks are not service providers, but they are business partners. I'm going to invite people who know more than I do. Please have a little bit of patience. I know little, but I'm going to ask a lot. Claudia. Claudia Muchalois, Chief Revenue Officer of Logicalis, Brazil. Fábio Giron, Head of Digital and Design Brazil of JP Morgan. Davi Fávaro, Associate Partner of BTG Pactual. And Mati Gopal, Director of Solution of Huawei Digital Finance BU.
Bem, vamos lá, gente. Peraí.
Well,
Passar aqui o microfone.
Let me give them the microphone.
Eu acho que
Huawei.
Fazer a primeira pergunta para ouvir você.
My first question to all of you. The question is, how are the banks changing service to corporate customers? This combination of technology service that we see more advanced in the world of retail. How does it get to the corporate world? Claudia. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be discussing such a wonderful agenda with our colleagues. I think the world is changing faster and faster. Not long ago, I've heard a statement that said, it takes longer today for us to consume content than to create it. So it's a totally different reality than what we see. And it will be more and more different when we look ahead to the future. And I don't know what it means, the future, in terms of time. And that transforms everything, how we learn, how we relate to each other, our relationships, how we collaborate, how we create value in the ecosystem. When we talk about AI, what changes with them? Everything, because you have the capacity to create and to review, optimize processes and products, and new ways to work in a faster way, in a more agile way, and outside the IT square. AI came to make this access democratic for technology and for businesses. And we have been discussing as the subject of this FEBRABAN the hyper-personalization, customization. And when we talk about AI, automation, and cloud and other technologies, together with a disruptive model and the new mindset of the leaders, how to act and think differently, to enter new markets, to launch new products and services, to cover better markets that already exist. These are the two main points when we think about AI. The first one, how do we create value looking at the top line? How do we generate more revenues? And the second one, the line of productivity and efficiency. Then you have accounts payable, accounts receivable, supplies, service, development. At the CEOs this morning, one of the banks said that they had a productivity of more than 50% in service using AI and more than 30% in the development. So how do we combine all that in a smart way so that by the end of the day, we have a better, more customized experience for our customers? I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying, talking about a corporate customer, and you take care of the digital channels. What is the demand? What do they want from the banks? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for choosing the blue panel. It's going to be the best one on the day. It's a pleasure to represent JP Morgan. This subject is it's something we know so much, how JP Morgan is positioned in the market in payment media. I'd like to share a couple of figures. JP Morgan invests $14 billion in technology. More than 10 trillion transactions go through JP Morgan every day. What do these huge figures say? They're huge figures. It shows how JP Morgan invests. And they don't invest just for the sake of it. They invest with quality. When we talk about corporate customers, we see a change of a relationship of bank and customers. In the past, it was like a shelf product, off-the-shelf product. Now we have to understand the customer and to offer services that make sense and how to make that business feasible. We are a partner bank, not a service bank, that is connected to our customers. Is that your experience? Is that what you feel when we think about the BTG customers? Good afternoon. I'm David from BTG. At BTG, we always had an interesting focus on the corporate customer. So we knew in depth the corporate customer because it's not retail. You are at the client, you know what they need, and we have many things that we can do to connect with this customer. One of the main issues there is with the advance of AI technology, we can offer the same experience, customized, detailed, to understand the customers in a way where we couldn't have done it before with small and medium companies. So what Fábio said, a little bit of what Fábio has said, we want to have a partnership with our customers, but most interestingly is our partnership with the small and medium-sized clients, because we weren't able to do that before. As BTG advanced in retail, with the advances in technology, we walked hand in hand with technology. So we provide the quality of service to the smaller customers and to the big customers. Most importantly is to listen to the demand of the customer. For you to listen, to offer services that make sense to the company. Now that's the name of the game. Going back to my point, it's not a shelf service, but it's something that is important to the customer on their daily routine. I'd like some help. Internationally, we're talking, and Matthew was telling me how the market has evolved in Asia, and he's based in China. That's where he's looking at. Can you give us some examples of what is that discussion about overseas?
First of all, good afternoon to everyone, and thanks for FEBRABAN to putting together this beautiful panel discussion this afternoon. and I represent Huawei. Just quick hint about Huawei. Huawei is in financial industry last 15 years, and we are serving over 5,600 customers globally. So talking about corporate business, in the ongoing transforming, the corporate business fundamental logics being changed. What that means, okay? Traditionally, the corporate banks offer cash management and very basic trade financing services, and also the trading services of the corporation, right? But today, they were giving with the AI, thanks to AI and cloud technologies, the corporate banking providing integrated embedded services to their clients. Okay, so if you see the corporations globally, they are doing business in very complex environment, very complex environment. Example, they are doing the global supply chain and cross-border payments, and also they are need of dynamic liquidation. Okay, because of these needs, the corporate banking service needed to be changed from the product oriented to the embedded service oriented. They shouldn't be the kind of service the product provider. They are embedding into the corporation business as a service provider.
Obrigada, Gopi.
Obrigado. Thank you very much. I'd like to focus on PC technology. In the past, what we think of historically is that banks have difficulty in plugging into
As interfaces deles
their internal interfaces
infraestrutura tecnológica
with the greater technological infrastructure. Do you see this as an opportunity to build business for banks? Is it a pathway where we can see a joining of AI technology all becoming enabled in such a way as to deliver value? Yes, it is, certainly. Banks are evolving from service providers to value creation agents in an ecosystem. One of the CEOs said something interesting in this morning's panel, which was lifetime value. In other words, how I can be a trusted advisor for my customer throughout their journey and their needs that they have over the course of the journey, and as part of an ecosystem, not just in terms of financial services, but all kinds of services that can add value to the end user. I've got two examples to share, and that they have a lot to do with Logicalis. One of our banking clients was facing challenges in the Pix generation software with their retail. So we carried out an assessment of their architecture. You, as providers within the architecture, the proprietary architecture of, yes, that's a new kind of relationship. Yes. And we carried out an assessment and we identified that there were specific connectivity actions and integration actions that were solved. And that enabled value creation to flow through the ecosystem. We also worked with another client bank in the creation of products using technology in a special way to improve time to market. That is to say, the time they take to respond to uncertainties, or let's say opportunity, perhaps. These renovation cycles, which are increasingly fast, enabling them to deliver value and be closer and closer to their customers. Davi and Fabio, I'd like to hear from you. How competitive are corporate banks at the moment? We talk about this integration capacity. And what's customers' perceptions of the banks? With regard to our customers, we have a specialized corporate area which really helps the integration with the bank's customers. Historically, we've come a long way in the corporate world. We have a very customized service for big players, a lot of very interesting integration tools. And on our portal, There's an area of helpers, which is for people outside the bank who provide free software. This is for the developers. They can develop developments on the basis of that. We also export the bank's data in a number of different formats, a number of smaller, let's say, packages that is a united front for integration, and also the feedback we've had from banks, and we've often had a lot of international recognition as being the best bank for corporate. And with AI and other recent developments, we can offer this same level of service to smaller customers now. Well, it's a very good question, Eliana. Thank you. So thank you for asking it. Let's take a step back. The bank customer negotiation, what did it used to be like? Sat around the table, sometimes you look at accounts payable or receivable and take a decision. It's not like that anymore. We have, well, technology is part of the negotiation now. And in fact, it's really part of the final decision. If the technology doesn't fit and doesn't match what's on the table, then you can forget it. It's not just the treasury and accounts payable. Those who work with banks, remember there were a number of different types of ways in which they work. You had TXT, and the first question was, or the first reaction was, it's so complex, we need technology. Not now when you talk about APIs and central bank about innovation, for example, open finance and the PIX, which is the instant payment. The APIs make everything much easier, much more accessible. To talk about JP Morgan, we have a platform called the Developers Portal. It's very simple, and the company can access this. There's a lot of documentation on APIs. There can be real-time testing. That's good for everybody, and that really expedites implementation, shortens the timescales, and it's a win-win for everyone. In fact, we've come through a transition period, and now everything is working much better in terms of integration with the customers.
Exactly. I'm pitching on Fabio's word, extending a little bit further. The technological integration between corporate banking and their clients historically always a pain point. Okay, but now recently it's not only the technology is a matter, but we are engaging into the business, because corporate clients expecting not the volume of asset the bank have or depth of product the bank have. They are expecting how easy the banking technology can integrate directly to the corporate customers' ERP systems, supply chain management systems, and also their procurement systems to make the transaction more end-to-end visible and simpler. Okay, this is why we are keep seeing in China and why we work with a lot of large corporate banking to redefine this strategy of technology integration into the direct embedded banking, the technological services from the banking to the end customers. Okay, this is direct embedded technologies, what we are talking over here. Thank you.
Muito interessante, né? Você deixa de ser de novo.
Very interesting. So you're not just a service provider from the outside.
Esse desafio.
It's a challenge to mindset and worldview and how banks are going to work as institutions themselves. It's really interesting. You're not just a pole that is, let's say, a passive pole, but you're part of the business decision now. I'd like to go seamlessly to this. Beyond banking is about that, isn't it? Beyond, does it really exist though? Is it a reality? Is it happening in institutions? And is it the pathway forward to help small companies gain scale and access to formerly inaccessible products? Is it improving, for example, CFO's decision-making, for example, do some hedging today, take a loan tomorrow? Anybody like to kick in on that? I could, if you don't mind. I've got a real example, which is Open Gateway. It's a practical example of what we've done to bring in value in this combination of very enriched data. Banks have very enriched data about us as clients with the data made available by operators, how to cross all of that, cross-reference it all, and identify proactively any possible frauds, for example, at any point in the value chain. Collaboration within the ecosystem, and that adds value for all the players, everyone who's collaborating and everyone who benefits from that type of solution. It can be used to validate, for example, databases and a range of purposes. We're living in a world in which ecosystems are being unified. We see operators with wonderful financial offerings, banks with mobile offerings. Itaú Bank, for example, sells Apple mobiles in Brazil. It's the largest one. The customer's in the middle, and you position yourself as a supplier or a provider to respond to their needs throughout their lifetime with your core solutions that also sometimes are made up with other partners. Claudia said this absolutely right. That's what Beyond Banking is. You're no longer just a solutions partner, you're a strategic partner in decision making. It's like, for example, automatic picks. BVA for those who don't have visibility, AI when you have cash credibility, moving forwards all the time. JPM, for example, has a number of platforms in which the AI is offered and really leads to true artificial intelligence at the end. This is materializing beyond banking. Treasurers who need real-time information to help, for example, cash flow, the best day for making an investment, and that's where AI comes in. So it's an aggregated service. It offers that.
Exactly. Continuing to that point, right? The technology, the data and AI really transforming the corporate banking or clients, how they see their customer management, corporate banking. This customer management structure being evolving. What we see Huawei in the Chinese market and the Asian market, the basic structure of customer management is being evolving. How? Instead of the corporate banking, the cornerstone is the customer management. But that being evolved in the matrix form of horizontal customer management to the vertical product empowerment. That is the only way how the corporate banking started infusing themselves into the customer's business, becoming a partner instead of just providing the products alone and just providing the best customer service. They are doing the proactive, integrated, embedded services, APIification, AI, data, to embed into the corporate banking clients' infrastructures, the technological infrastructures.
Uma pergunta só para o Golpe. No.
I have a question, actually. I'll get back to you. I was curious by what you were talking about, and I'd like to hear more about small and medium size. Well, let me go in here very quickly to give some examples of services that we have. The customer, well, they used to see banking as a service that we had. They can carry out transactions, there are payments, they can issue payment slips. In the past, the client used to have to ask the bank to do it. The bank was a kind of intermediary. Now, with the APIs, customers are doing that themselves straight away, as if they were the bank. Another service from the client's point of view. They can offer banking services like loans to their own clients. They can consult, they can give the best interest rate to customers, a whole range of services. It's as if you could potentialize each customer through banking services that they would expect from a bank, but they can potentialize them, for example, their sales, their marketing using AI to classify their transactions and everything. whole range of things that we can do to really enable customers to do this. Well, let's go back to what Claudia was saying. This issue of integration of ecosystems. That's perhaps an example of how people in the past, items were working separately, but now everything's part of one. It's like a bundling. It's a complete bundle. Gopi, coming back to you, I was curious by what you were saying. Davi mentioned small and mid-sized companies and how changes in technology have enabled you to bring these customers to a big kind of corporate market with much more diversity and more delivery of value. Is that a real movement happening in Asia, in China, or has it already happened, or are they just taking their first steps?
Okay, I can give you a couple of examples. Actually, this has happened half a decade ago in China and Asian markets. Huawei actually worked with one of the largest commercial and corporate banking customers from Shanghai to together with their warehouse supply chain enterprises. So Huawei provided AI technologies to digitize the contract, like a smart contract, AI and blockchain technologies, and also the IoT and data analytic technologies to make the real-time visibility and decision making. So this one really improved their business in the smart warehouse business in the corporate world. That is the one model. Under the another model, actually, if you see this kind of transformation, it's happening in the retail. Actually, the end customer are really influenced by their social and also the supply chain and e-commerce advancement in the market. So it was happening from the SMEs and the mid and large size banks and also the huge corporates. So that is what in Chinese market they already did is the account management, they redefined evolution, not direct only account management. They created the matrix model. They created a horizontal account for the warehouse corporates, certain type of product association, their technologies, including the smart reports, and the smart monitoring and smart contract, this kind of vertical product empowerment with the horizontal customer engagement, they transformed the corporate banking like almost half decade now. But in Brazil market, I hope it's starting now more deeper with the AI and smart contract and real-time decisioning. That is the important thing. And with the same bank also, Huawei has provided our real-time decisioning data platform, which is giving the real-time decisioning almost within 50 milliseconds. Okay, this all the transformation in the large corporation is the realistic in the Asian market already. Thank you.
Cláudia, imagina. Cláudia, vou ficar em você.
I'm going to ask a question to you and Gopi about the vision of the supplier.
Vocês
Do you participate? Can you participate as providers of technology updates, management of infrastructure, training of labor? When we talk about cloud, Internet of Things, AI, where are the challenges that you see as supplier of this chain that is changing? And then Fabio, Giron, and David can comment. So from the point of view of the customer who hires you, please be light. It's a great point, and I think that the role of the integrators, Logicalis is an integrator of technology service that works with several solutions of hardware and software and services in the market. It's to connect all these points. It's never technology for the sake of technology. What a technology can have as a business outcome. So based on that business agenda by the customer to create the agenda of technology that is totally connected. I'm just going to illustrate. We do a study called CIO report, and 68% of the companies in the financial industry said that they have technological solutions that are underused. And 69% say that the offering by the suppliers are very complex to be managed. At the same time, the survey says that the integration of technologies using generative AI and the improvement of customer experience are the subjects that are in the priorities of the financial companies in 2025. So everybody wants to use the new technologies to deliver a better customer experience, but when they look inside, they have a realization of the underuse of what they already have. So how can you develop this 360-degree vision, the legacy systems that are very important connected to the new technologies? All the matter of a model of architecture connected, which is one of the critical factors for success for successful artificial intelligence projects. 20% reach the ROI that they propose in the beginning. One of the things is to have a solid integrated data architecture for today and for the future. It shows the need and the importance of, as he had said, to talk with strategic partners, not with opportunistic partners, but with partners who understand all your strengths, all your gaps, and who works with you to solve the solution. One case that we have of data tech, a cord for analysis of credit score to prevent fraud, and in intelligence in collection, they had a challenge to migrate, to build a new on-premises and migrate to the cloud and to reach a critical requirement of latency at peaks to work in a more preventive way than the banks of Accord cannot process a PIX if there is a sign of fraud. So it has to go to 50 milliseconds. So we've worked with Accord called CODX platform that was done to process billions of information to corporate customers, to individuals, for you to take value consistently for the ecosystem as a whole. Just another question. We look at the supplier delivering the service, but you have a challenge that is inside the customer. The customer sometimes feels that the potential is underused. So how do you deal with that in your team management? Do you need a new professional? Do you have another overview when you hire? What does that change as the provider of the service? This point is very important. I think that humans were never so necessary as today. We talked about the style of leadership, Earth 1, Earth 2. Earth 1 is the world that is predictable, there is command control, the leader has all the answers. There is nothing that is unpredictable, everything is very well planned, orchestrated. You plan, carry out the planning, and you deliver it. Does anyone here in the audience live in that Earth 1 world? No, we are in Earth 2. Earth 2 is very volatile. It's full of unpredictable things, disruption, fast disruption. The leader doesn't have all the answers. They have to be able to put together a team that will complement the hard and soft skills to have this holistic vision in-house. And when we talk to the bank or to the bank's customer, because we do make projects looking at the ecosystem, and how do we have this vision that is more integrated and more comprehensive so that we can take that to our customer who is in the middle of a market that is very fast, full of uncertainty, and a geopolitical context that we had never seen before.
Vou voltar, então. A gente pensando no papel
So
do...
going back to you, Gopi, thinking of the role of the supplier and issues like technological updating, managing infrastructure, and training labor. And the question also is, how does this affect the profile of the people you hire?
Okay, thank you. First of all, the people, what we are looking for is who really understand the technologies with their corporate customers' business. That is very important because two challenges Huawei facing whenever we are reaching out to our corporate banking, because every banking customers, they are expecting to seamless their bank, integrate with their ERP system, or integrate with their supply management systems, or integrate with their cash management system to give the transparent transaction for the end consumer. But if you come back to the banking side, the system is very complex. It's a legacy. First of all, it's not the modularized or microservices or APIification things. It's a very monolithic legacy model. This is the first problem what we face. So when we hiring the people, what we are looking for, who understand both side of the wall, which is the legacy monolithic technologies and also the futuristic foresight technologies such as APIification, cloudification, AI technologies. So this is the core what as a technological vendor, what we are looking for hiring the people. And also in this solving these main problems, the Huawei as a technological vendor, we're focusing mainly on the four directions, four solution directions or technological directions. The first one is the modernizing the monolithic applications into the microservices, modularized or APIifications, these technologies. And the second layer, the data technology. We needed to, as Claudia mentioned, right? We needed to have the real-time decision making, especially in the corporate banking. Unlike the retail banking, the corporate bank not just deal with the transactional data. Corporate bank read with the external data, unstructured media data, different type of data. So Huawei also focusing on the data technology to provide the real-time decisioning. And the third one about the innovation, the service level innovation. As I mentioned previously, the account management structure of corporate banking has been evolving. So we are innovating in that technology and also on the different product lines of corporate bank supply chain management and AI empowered treasury management system for corporate banking to have the tokenization technology providing the corporate banking customers like a seamless visibility of their all liquidity. So already, I even know in the Brazilian banks, already they're doing pilot on the tokenization of the receivables, to provide the seamless transaction for their end customers. So on fourth one, finally, cornerstone, what we do is about the infrastructure modernizations to cope up with the AI and the upcoming technologies. So this four strategic direction we called as a digital flywheels. This is what we are focusing on. So as far as back to your original question, the people who we are, equipping or caring more about is who understand the both side of the wall, not like the legacy side wall, not like a new technologies. Then you will have some big white space of merging these two things. So Huawei really care this uniqueness.
Se eu puder complementar aqui só pouquinho no perfil.
If I can continue to add to that, I have some data from the World Economic Forum in 2018. 7 years ago, not long ago, the main skills they wanted were problem solving, complex problems, negotiation and teamwork. 7 years later, they want analytic thinking. That is really critical. Data are the new oil. Curiosity, continuous learning. So really the only certainty is change. We're learning all the time, learning new things every day, lifelong learning. And technological literacy, you can't just say, I'm not IT, I'm not an IT person, I don't use AI. That can't happen anymore. Talent management, agility and flexibility, and active listening and empathy.
Talvez com outras camadas
A professional who has some more soft skill layers to navigate fluently and seamlessly through this hyper-personalized, interconnected world.
Esses são os fornecedores.
Fabio and Davi,
Vocês como contratantes.
suppliers, since you are hirers or of bank platforms, what do you think? Wonderful. If someone has that profile, congratulations. It's what we all want. There's going to be an issue, though. What defines quality is not the problem when it happens, but it's how you react. That really is what defines the quality of the service that you're relating to.
Eu acho que uma das coisas que foi
I think one of the things that was mentioned is really interesting is that technology has always had this issue of lack of predictability. You can plan and plan and plan, but things will happen.
claramente definido.
And problems are not always clearly and explicitly defined. Sometimes they're too.
Não,
Agora
perdemos você.
voltou.
Voltou.
Sorry, we lost you for a moment. Yes, the problems are complex problems.
Complexos têm que ser resolvidos.
And complex problems need solutions. And I think with AI, the ability of understanding a specific language and understanding a particular technical thing is going to be less and less fundamental. And what's going to be more fundamental is, as Claudia said, is the analytical view. Engineering, really. Engineering to know how to solve things. Teamwork, negotiating solutions. That's, I think, the complete profile that we need in our consultancies as well, and also our employees. Well, thank you, everyone. I have one last question. Practical examples. We often talk about tokenization. We talk about platformization. Claudia had some examples. Fabio,
O que vocês mudaram na vida?
what's changing in the lives of your customers? I've got 3 topics.
Primeiro, começando pela inteligência artificial.
First of all, AI, obviously. We've spoken a great deal about cash predictability, treasury solutions,
Tesouraria sem segurança
but
não vai rolar.
without safety and security, treasury solutions won't work. So we need AI for transaction security, monitoring, fraud prevention. This is where AI has to go. Platformization. At JP Morgan, we think we're actually gearing a lot of effort towards that. The audience here, in your companies, no doubt you've got an ERP, EMS, you've got Oracle, SAP, whatever. A solution that requires a lot of time and effort from you. Above all, when you migrate SAP, migrations for HANA, etc., that is like all projects have to be halted and all the time and effort goes into this integration.
Neste momento,
Right then, a partner bank that understands your business is really important. So we will help you navigate and we will help our customer in that journey, which is a difficult journey. That's so important. Instead of saying, come to my platform, come to my internet banking. No, with platforming, if I can plug our solutions into what you already have in-house,
isso é muito legal.
that's a good thing. And that's going to facilitate for you and AI in payments within the platform that you already use on a daily basis. You'll have an operational gain from the platformization. JP Morgan's investing a lot of time and effort in that. Come and talk to us. And very quickly, tokenization. That's another hot topic. It's a buzzword
JP Morgan
this time round. JP Morgan has a very good platform. It's called Kinexis.
de ativos digitais,
It's a digital asset platform helping companies through blockchain, cross-border payments, 24/7 payments.
inteligência artificial.
When people are talking about AI and platformization, tokenization, and these conversations, which were dreams or pipe dreams, really, now they're reality. Thank you.
A gente falou, acho que a gente falou.
We here have spoken of the partner ERP integrations and so on, and customers who are in their own ERPs can bring forward an account receivable and so on. The bank can provide this as a service or in integration. So we have, for example, a customer's supplier payment, and for example, to interact on the date when it's necessary. We can oversee
Tem uma série de serviços.
the balance and so on. There are a number of
Então, que
solutions which are BaaS as well, banking as a service.
acho que
Tokenization is interesting. We have a program with the central bank, a project, which is that BTG, I don't know if everyone knows it,
token que
BTG doll, which is a token
para fazer
that customers have used for interest rate hedging and foreign currency transactions.
discussão com o Banco Central.
We're talking to the central bank about bringing forward digital receivables. We're working also in tokenized debentures. People can issue tokens of debentures. All the payment scheme,
Transacional
all the transactional part
gerenciado automaticamente.
can be managed automatically within the token.
Tem uma série de serviços que a gente
There are a number of services that we're helping customers with,
tokenização quanto em plataforma.
tokenization and platforms. But of course, AI is the hottest of the topics at the moment. Interactions with customers, providing tools for the customer to use with their own clients.
Realmente até pouco tempo atrás era
Until recently, this was sci-fi, and today it's here and it's real. Hyper-personalization, where you can
experiência diferente.
have a different experience for each
São coisas que
customer in your bank.
eram impossíveis.
These were impossible until recently, and today
Avançado bastante.
at BTG, we've been providing these for our customers.
Positivo nesse.
And the feedback we've had is very
Claudia closes it.
I wanted to emphasize the two things: AI all over FEBRABAN, right? This year, 2025, and we know in corporate world, AI in every layer, every layer. Huawei, what we are concentrating together with the Asian bank and Chinese banks and the AI, we adapted a little early stage. Already the scenarios are there inside the corporate banking. Now, what level we are in the AI is like as Fabio mentioned about the security, right? The technology brings the drawbacks also, especially in the corporate banking services, the deepfakes, because you are going to scroll a lot of external informations. So deepfake technologies and false positive alarms in the AI. This is where what Huawei and the Asian banks are concentrating to improve it. We called as the AI versus AI. So we're creating the functionality to continuously check and optimize the AI functionality implemented in the business products. So it's called AI versus AI. That's the first step, the first point. And the second point in the tokenization, as I said, we are yearly adopted. The tokenization really helping to digitalize the assets and contracts. As I said, the supply chain management, such kind of the complex corporate banking process, this tokenization is really helping to simplify. So we are expanding this tokenization into the supply chain systems and also the smart contract, to digitalizing the assets. These all things, these two areas, what Huawei is deeply involved in the Asian and the Chinese banks in the upcoming years. It's not about implementing scenarios, already implemented scenarios, how you protect, how you continuously evolve. Because human check on these AI layers is really impossible and ineffective. That's what we created. We called as a blue army versus red army. So blue army being the doing good to the business, and red army checking, are you really doing good or not? So this is really interesting technology what evolving in the Asian market and Chinese banks in the modern days. Thank you.
Obrigada, Golpe. Cláudia.
Claudia,
Acho que além dos exemplos,
in addition to the examples that I've talked about, we are going through an era of multidisciplinary teams, ours and the customers working together, and how to look at the bank as a driver, a leader in this ecosystem. And I think that sometimes you have to go back to basics and to start in a simple way. We have been working in a smart invoicing system that gave the customer 96% gain in time. So there was a cost efficiency, decreased errors, decreased rework, or sometimes paying taxes twice for correcting an invoice, and customer satisfaction increased radically. And this is a journey. This process of digital transformation and everything that the new technologies are bringing is not a sprint. It's a 40-kilometer marathon, and this is phase one. You have quick win, you deliver the ROI, you have the buy-in by the C-level, the buy-in of the directors. The board doesn't talk much about that. I'm a counselor, so I live both sides, so we are always being provoked. So when it's important, when AI is not new, it's been here for decades, but generative AI is making this very democratic, and it's for everyone that we didn't have before. So having the buy-in of the C-level, of the board, by consistent deliveries of ROI projected for each one of the initiatives is very important for you to have credibility and breadth so that you can continuously innovate in the company and going that to the ecosystem. We have a little bit more than 5 minutes, and I would like to propose to close by reflecting about something. Please leave your message, but I'd like to listen to you. In this last round of questions, you've talked a lot about security, reliability, how AI is opposed to AI itself to self-check. And we know that the basics of the banking, corporate banking, retail banking, is reliability. It's to make sure that the banking order was correctly processed. So the center of the business is the reputation that each institution has. And I would propose for you what do you think about that? How are all these new technologies, new partnerships, new customers, newcomers, platforms that are making strategic decisions being made, giving advice to the CFO to take a loan? You're talking about the reputation of the company. Everything that is new in beyond banking, how will that match the need to keep a strong reputation, for you to make sure that these processes advance, but keeping the core of the business, the banking business? I would start with the 3 critical success factors for a successful AI projects and other technologies. I think the first one was the importance of the human beings, humans first, for you to have the right people in the right place and to put together your network of strategic partners, suppliers, in order to supplement to what you need so that you can have a successful delivery. So we talked about the profile of this new professional. The second point is to be in love with the issue and not the solution. So to keep that paranoia of the business outcome. So it's never technology for the sake of it. How will this technology make it feasible? Will improve the top line or the bottom line of the company, and how is that transposed to the ecosystem? And the third one, you were very smart on your statement, which is governance and security. How is that? First of all, that's what the right thing to do. And secondly, it is directly linked to the image, the reputation of the company in the market, which is about credibility. You take years to build and you lose it in 1 second, and it takes longer to rebuild. So security, to make sure the processes are being performed the best way, they have to be done. Governance that is justified and ethical, inclusive, open. It's very important. And I will conclude with by Peter Drucker. We always to think about the triad: people, processes, and technologies. It's never one separate from the other. And one sentence that I like: there is nothing so useless than doing efficiently something that shouldn't be done. So there is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. So does this process fit my strategy, the transformation that I want to do, the customer that I want to serve better? And there is a huge potential. There is a McKinsey study until 2030, AI will generate $13 trillion for global economy. It's 16% of the GDP. And Brazil is ahead of other countries in adopting and in digital transformation projects and AI. So we have all the tools to be leaders and to be an example in banking, because we have a world-class banking service. We are used as benchmarks to banks all over the world, and we are so proud of that. Thank you. Fabio, first of all, I would like to thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for the invitation. At the JP Morgan, tradition, innovation are not words that cancel each other out, they supplement each other. Even 2 centuries in the market, JP Morgan continues investing and reinventing itself. And our goal is very clear: not to be a service bank, but a strategic partner in the decision making of our customers. This is the path that we see. Technology for the sake of it, nobody's going to change technologies for that sake. Our objective is to deliver quality. Count on us.
Sure. I'm just voicing out the Fabio's word extended. 3 words: predictive, embedded, and analytics. This is imperative for the cooperative bank. You like it or not, it's imperative. You needed to do this. The key where it's going to differentiate the corporate bank is how well you balance these things: the change and resiliency of your services. If you don't change, you die, you're forgotten. If you're not resilient during the change, you are going to forgotten also. So this is the key what I wanted to give to the cooperative banking customers to find your balance based on your services to do the transformation and resilient transformation, I may say. Thank you.
Obrigada, Golpe.
Thank you very much, Gopi. That's very good. So, well, thank you, everyone.
A gente entrou mais atrasados no palco. Então,
Well, we have just one more minute.
Finalizar,
Well, just to sum up, I think we mentioned
mantém, né,
how
a confiança, a robustez.
we can keep the trust of customers and be robust in the face of all these changes. There are a number of tools that help. There's AI and automatic testing that we do. There is a sad, in the case of BTG, the main point is our philosophy and our business model and our reputation. These are very important. So we work with very talented people in a partnership scheme, and we remain very close to customers. We've always been a wholesale bank. We've always been very up close to the customers. And in the future, we intend to take that to our smaller and mid-sized customers as well. So that's our bank culture, and that is driving us forwards. And this is what keeps our obsession, I could call it an obsession, with our reputation. And the quality of our services guarantee that all transactions will happen correctly, and that their transactions are in good hands with us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for being so patient. Thank you, Fabio. Thank you for your moderation, too, of the panel. Personally, I'd like to thank everyone in the audience, because
me formei em jornalismo, eu fui
I'm a journalist. I was an economic reporter for 25 years. Then I went into the corporate world about 10 years ago. But it's a gift whenever I have these rare opportunities like right now to ask questions without any limits and kind of let my curiosity have free rein. Thank you all in the audience. I'd like to thank you for so generously being here, and of course our masters present with me on the stage and answering questions that I didn't know the answers to. Thank you so much.